Okay, what I want to do now, before rendering out our elements, I want to adjust the lighting slightly in my scene. The reason I'm doing this is because we have this lake in front of our castle, and water is obviously a very reflective surface. So you really do want to have your final sky that is reflected in the water. By final, I mean at least something really close, because obviously there are waves in the water, there's some roughness, so we're not going to see the exact reflections. It's going to be quite diffused. But still, so what I'm going to do is like another quick matte painting bash, I guess. That is really close to what I'm going to do as a final matte painting. I'm just not going to spend as much time refining stuff. So I'm just gathering a few photos and just bashing them on top of my canvas to do something like a quick mock-up of the matte painting I'm going to do. That is still quite correct, but I'm just not spending too much time blending the elements together. It just has to be quite correct in terms of colors, I guess. And you will see that what I will do next is to import this in my scene as a projection in a surface shader. And so here I'm playing with photos that once again come from the awesome pack Dramatic Skies from forthebash.org. So they're pretty cool, and a lot of them are compatible between each other, which is nice to blend them together. By the way, quick tip, guys, when you do matte painting, you don't want to use like hundreds of photos. I mean, ideally, the least photo you use, the better, actually. That's what I always try to keep in mind. So instead of jumping too quickly in Photoshop, what I usually do is spend more time looking for the right photos, I guess. Because it might take a while, but usually it's worth it if I can find a set of photos that have the same lighting, that are compatible together. So here I've done my quick matte painting mockup. So I'm going to save this as a TIFF, and I'm naming this projection because, as I said, this is going to be projected in my scene. You could also, I guess, bash it on top of your HDRI. But in this case, my HDRI is already quite accurate compared to the lighting that I want. I just need to have those extra reflections in the water. So I'm creating a plane. It doesn't matter at all the size that it is. It just needs to be big enough. So I'm really eyeballing here the size. Just want to make sure that it takes the whole canvas. And I'm creating a Maya surface shader. And as an image, I created once again a projection, but this time a perspective projection. And I choose my projection cam as the brush cam. Here the color space is not right, as you can see. So I'm just going to switch ACES to output sRGB. So quick reminder, output sRGB is the color space that will give you in an ACES pipeline exactly what you see in Photoshop. Okay, so here my projection camera for some reason is not the right one. And I think that is because I had created another one, I think. So I'm going to create a new projection cam based on the canvas that I had in Photoshop, and that was a 15mm projection cam actually. To be honest, it doesn't matter. You can create a new camera and place your projection wherever you want. It really doesn't matter. One thing though, that is that if you want to move now the image, well, you cannot move the plane. The image will stay. What you need to do is move the projection cam, which I'm going to do here, and you're going to see that the image will move if I move the projection cam. If I put my finger shot cam, there you go. And then you can just place it wherever you need to. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect. We just need those reflections to sort of match what we have in Photoshop. Cool, so I think this is pretty good. So let's see how this looks in the render view. Okay, so this is way too dark. And the reason for that is that we need to tweak a few things in the attribute spreadsheet, for example. So what I'm going to do in the render is to turn off the primary visibility. Also turn off the receive shadows and cast shadows settings. And basically I'm only going to keep visible in refractions and reflections. So the plane, the geometry itself doesn't affect anything in the scene, but the water in terms of reflections. Cool, so now we have water that is looking way more convincing. So feel free to use those projection tools inside of Maya to also do other things. I just let you experiment.